The Do-17 was one of the first aircraft to be equipped with an airborne radar system. The Z-1 version mounted the FUG-10 radar, while the more precise FUG-202 was installed on the Z-7 version. This represented a significant step forward in military technology and allowed the bombers to operate more effectively at night and in adverse weather conditions. The last version of the Do-17, the Z-10, employed one of the first infrared detection systems, called spanner anlage. The apparatus did not bring appreciable results. The Dornier Do-17 was a twin-engine light bomber, designed in the early 1930s to be fast enough to outrun enemy aircraft, produced for the German Luftwaffe during World War II. Sometimes referred to as the Flyagenda Bleistift, flying pencil, it was popular among its crews for its maneuverability, especially at low altitude, which made the Do-17 harder to hit than other German bombers. It showed good resistance to enemy gunfire and the ability to execute disengagement dives at up to 600 km/h. The cockpit housed 4 members and ended in a glazed cockpit, common to many German fighters of the time. It was produced in several variants from August 1936 to October 1940. The first 2 versions of the E bomber and F reconnaissance aircraft series were powered by 12-cylinder V engines of the BMW VI 7.3 type with 750 horsepower, while the later versions were equipped with the more powerful 9-cylinder Brahmo 323 Fafnir radial engines with 1000 horsepower, which were air-cooled and less sensitive to fire. The Z series was the most produced and popular variant. The front fuselage was redesigned with a larger cockpit to accommodate a rear gunner. Despite the weight increases, it was much more powerful than previous versions, thanks to new supercharged Brahmo 323 Fafnir engines. Deployed from 1939, the variant of this aircraft was faster and operated at a higher altitude, and also had 4 defensive machine guns. The Do-17 made its combat debut in 1937 during the Spanish Civil War, operating in the Condor Legion in various roles. Together with the Heinkel HE-111, it was the main bomber type of the German Air Force in 1939–1940. Used during the beginning of the war, it took part in the most significant military campaigns as a frontline aircraft until the end of 1941. Used extensively against the British and French, the new aircraft proved vulnerable to the new fighters. Furthermore, its effectiveness and use were reduced as bomb loads and bomb ranges were limited, and thus its production was discontinued. As an emergency solution, the Do-17 was also used in night fighter units. It was one of the first attempts to improve night hunting conditions. Equipped with 1 or 2 20mm cannons and 3 or 4 7.92mm machine guns. Although the Do-17 was a fast machine, its performance suffered considerably depending on the war load carried. Nominally, the different bombing variants could carry up to 1,000 kilograms of bombs, but this limit was only fully exploited on short-range missions, while on longer distances the load was generally halved. Only with the Z-2 version, thanks to the use of Brahmo 323P engines, was it possible to transport the maximum load at the maximum operational distance of around 1,200 kilometers. The defensive armament of the bombing and reconnaissance versions of the Do-17 varied considerably over time. Production of the Dornier ended in mid-1940, in favor of the newer and more powerful Junkers Ju-88. The very powerful successor to the Do-17, Dornier Do-217, began to appear in 1942. Some remaining Do-17s continued in various Luftwaffe roles until the end of the war, as glider tugs, search and training aircraft. A considerable number was sent to other Axis nations. Few survived the war. The last was scrapped in Finland.